this. But it really is, and that's just to give you a better picture, but it really is this right here. Here's your lacrimal gland, see it? See all those little ducts coming out from underneath it? Those are your lacrimal ducts. Over here are the puncta, the two little hole you see over here in the corner of the eye. Here's your lacrimal sac. Here's the nasal lacrimal duct going down into the nose. That's why when you cry, your nose runs, because your tears go into the nose.
Is the opening of the lacrimal duct going to be on the exam?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be on paper? Okay, gotcha.
I may do the lacrimal and lacrimal duct here just because. Now, we look at the muscles. We have the extraocular eye muscles. Be careful. This muscle is like this, and the other one is right underneath it. See it? This is two different muscles. This one, come here. Close your eye. I did this to you the other day. Open your eye. Open your eye. And that muscle that's pulling to open up that eyelid is this one. This is the levator palpebrae superioris. But when I take this one off, now you can see this one underneath, and it's coming in right here in the top of the eyeball. When it pulls, it makes you look straight up. It's the superior rectus.
Do we have to put a superior rectus muscle?
Yes.
Sorry, this threw me off.
This is screwy. This is backwards.
Okay, gotcha.
They screwed up that one.
Okay.
Because it should be the levator palpebrae superioris, and there they're showing it underneath.
Right.
It's not underneath, it's on top.
Gotcha.
So you have the levator palpebrae superioris, but here it's going into the eyeball itself. This is the superior rectus. Well, we know that the lacrimal gland is over here on the lateral side, so this is the lateral rectus. If you look straight down here, there's the inferior rectus. And over here is the medial rectus. Four recti: superior rectus, inferior rectus, lateral rectus, and medial rectus. Then you see this one coming along here, and it goes through this little trochlea right here. That is the superior oblique. And if you look at the bottom, you can see one swooshing along the bottom, and that's the inferior. So if I come here, this one does not have the levator palpebrae superioris at all. You can see the superior oblique, excuse me, you can see the superior rectus, the lateral rectus, the medial rectus, and the inferior rectus. Here's the superior oblique coming in, see it? And over here, this is the superior oblique, this is the inferior oblique. But remember, if I'm going to follow my finger, don't move your head. Superior rectus, inferior rectus, medial rectus, because your eyes came to the middle, lateral rectus. But when I do the oblique, if I'm doing the superior oblique, I come down here. If I'm doing the inferior oblique, I come over here. Because the way this pulls, it pulls and makes it look down. All right? Superior rectus, inferior rectus, lateral rectus, medial rectus, superior oblique, and the inferior oblique. Those are your extraocular eye muscles. If we're going to do the layers of the eye, all of this white is the sclera. See the maroon part going around? That's the choroid layer. In this model, this is the sclera. This is the choroid layer. It's got all the blood vessels. I open up this one. All of this in the back is the retina. I open up this one. White is the sclera. The maroon is the choroid, and all this back here is the retina. Scared cats run. Where you see the pinking shears, where it's cut like pinking shears cut it. Guys are going, what the hell are pinking shears? They cut like that. Okay. What they do is they keep thread from unraveling, or material from unraveling. This is the front part of the retina. It ends right there at the ora serrata. If I take the red and the black together, that's the ciliary body, or the ciliary apparatus. It's made up of the ciliary muscle, the red, and the ciliary body, which is the black. And coming off of these are suspensory ligaments that you can see there. Suspensory ligaments hold, they suspend the lens in the middle of the eye. So it holds it right there.
Okay.
Suspensory ligaments suspend the lens here in the middle of the eye. And they're the ones that pull on it to change how thick or how thin this end is to focus. Then we come back. So this is the cornea. The colored part is the iris. The hole is the pupil. This is the lens. Everything behind the lens is the posterior cavity. If I come to the lens and go in front of the lens, this space between the lens and the back of the iris is the posterior chamber. If I poke in here, now my finger is poking into the anterior chamber from the iris to the cornea. When I take the posterior chamber and the anterior chamber and put them together, that gives me the anterior cavity. In your drawing, that's 5, 6, and 7. 7 is the anterior cavity. 5 and 6 are the posterior and anterior chambers. They're not interchangeable. Okay? When we look, all of this white here is conjunctiva. You get conjunctivitis, so you get the pink eye. Now, if I go straight into the eye, it's going to focus on that little yellow spot right there. See that yellow spot? That's the macula lutea. And right in the center, see that little point right in the center? That is the fovea centralis, or the fovea. It's where you have the most number of cones. So when I look in the eye, look in the retina, I've got two kinds of photoreceptors, rods and cones. Rods are over here on the side, but more toward the front. Cones are all back here, with millions of cones right there in the macula lutea. Cones see color, red, green, and blue.
Yellow.
No, it is blue. She said yellow.
I was thinking of the
You're thinking of the traffic
stoplights.
light,
Yeah.
Okay, but if that's the macula lutea and I go 15 degrees to the horizon, see the white dot with the blood vessels in it? That's the optic disc, and it's got the blood vessels. It's also called the anatomical blind spot because there are absolutely no cones there. There's no photoreceptors there. It is the beginning of the optic nerve. Okay? That's it.
And the ear.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought it
This is the auricle. It's also called the pinna. Now, clinically, we call this tip here the pinna. Okay? But this whole thing is called the pinna anatomically, or called the auricle. Remember we had those three muscles? The auricularis posterior, the auricularis anterior, and the auricularis superior. And all they did was make the ear wiggle. All right, this ring out here is the helix. This ring is the antihelix. When you take this little piece here that you can push in and close off your ear, it's the tragus, but you never see it on the model. And this is the antitragus,
Which one?
right here.
Okay. Antitragus.
So here's the tragus, there's the antitragus. Tragus I can close off your ear.
Oh, this
There's the
little piece.
antitragus.
Wait,
Okay?
that's the tragus?
Tragus is this one that you can close the ear. Antitragus is the little bump right in front of it. Okay? Now, this is called the external auditory meatus. It's the ear canal. Don't forget that the external auditory meatus has got the ceruminous glands that make the earwax, and it has the little hairs. And what goes into your ear?
Nothing.
Nothing bigger than your elbow.
Smaller than your
Oh,
elbow.
smaller.
Smaller than your elbow. Good idea. Nothing goes in your ear. Okay?
No, I just said,
Oh, I know you
because I
did.
was thinking the elbow can't even go in
That's it. You're good,
there.
girl.
It's been a long day.
So when we get over here, this is the tympanic membrane. This is the eardrum.
Okay, where'd that come
It's called the TM, or the tympanic membrane. from the external ear. The external ear goes from the auricle all the way to the tympanic membrane. Once I'm past the tympanic membrane, now I'm in the middle ear. And when I go into the middle ear, I start off, I've got 3 little bones. They're called the ossicles, 3 in each ear. I have the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. The malleus, you can see it when you look in and you look at the eardrum. You can see it right there. And this is the incus. And there's the stapes. Looks like a stirrup. This one's broken. Okay? Together, ossicles individually, the incus, the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. I will use that picture. Okay, because they're easier to see. Okay, there's 2 muscles. See that little bitty muscle right there? It's going to the stapes. That little bitty muscle going to the stapes is the stapedius, one of the smallest muscles in the body. It's the stapedius going to the stapes. And if you look at this, this is the auditory canal. Used to call it the eustachian canal. See that muscle? This is the tensor tympani. It comes up, crosses over, and right here it's going over to the malleus. And what it does is when the air makes the tympanic membrane start vibrating, the malleus touches it and stops it from vibrating so much. And it does it because of the tensor tympani. So I went from air that makes the tympanic, now I'm at a mechanical motion because the bones are moving. And then the stapes is sitting right in the oval window. Give me that one. And on this model, there's the oval window. Okay? And the stapes sits in there. And the stapes starts vibrating, and it causes the endolymph and the perilymph in here to start moving, and now I have a fluid wave. It's going to move these little hairs, and then you have sound. Okay? So here, this is sitting in here like this. So this is the hard, the bony labyrinth. Okay, this is the bony labyrinth. This gray one is membranous. It's soft. It's the membranous labyrinth. When I take the bony labyrinth, that little space, see the lavender between the bony and the gray? Those are semicircular canals. If I look inside of, if I look inside, it would be inside of the plastic here. That would be semicircular ducts. Okay. Well, we take the bony labyrinth, and this is the anterior semicircular canal. This is the lateral, and this is the posterior. Anterior, lateral, and posterior. If I follow the canal around, I come here and see where it enlarges, that's the ampulla. It can be the ampulla of the bony labyrinth, it can be the ampulla of the membranous, because they both swell up. Here, I've got the labyrinth, the cochlea that looks like a shell, and this is the vestibule, 3 parts of the ear, of the inner ear. I've got the bony labyrinth, or the semicircular canals. I've got the vestibule, and I have the cochlea. The vestibule has these 2 structures. This is the utricle, and this is the saccule. They're responsible for linear acceleration and gravity. When you take off and you do this, that tells you you're going in that direction. Okay? Now, cochlea goes around and around and around. See it? Like a shell. And so these get repeated over and over and over again. See them getting repeated over and over and over again, the pink, the green, and the blue?
Oh, okay. Is that where they connect the cochlear ear plant?
It goes here.
Oh, okay. Is it actually into the
Yeah,
nerve?
it goes into here.
Oh, okay.
Now, when I look at the cochlea,